Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Bakersfield Business Partners, our weekly podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and the past president of Bakersfield Business Partners, which is a BNI networking group here in Bakersfield, California. We meet every Tuesday morning, and BNI is designed to help your business grow through referrals. But we have the best group in town, and we want to highlight our membership. And we're really trying to focus on not just referrals, but also education and relationships. So we wanted to introduce one of our members here today, and I have Will with me. Will, say hello.
Good morning. Hello.
Thanks for being here, and we're just going to jump right into it. Will, this is your first time on the podcast, so we kind of want to get to know you maybe on a more personal level, just kind of who you are, your background, and kind of how you got started. So, I mean, maybe if you could take us back, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Duncan said, my name is Will Medveal. I'm with your neighborhood handyman. We're a local residential and commercial handyman maintenance service. I'm from California. I was born in California. I was born in Central Valley. Moved up to Northern California with my parents when I was a kid. My dad built homes and hotels and things like that. So there's always been an element of the contracting in our family. And lived up there through high school and some of my young adult years. Met somebody from Bakersfield. Ended up starting a family here. The housing market was favorable. It was a little small town feel, and I just really felt at home here. And I've been here for, I don't know, over 20 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what were you doing before you got into the handyman biz?
So before doing this, I was in the dealership world in the parts and service side.
Okay.
So
this is a totally different industry than for you where you were before.
Yeah, completely different. It's less grease and gears and more property related stuff, but it's repair and maintenance and care. One of the things that I learned in that dealership environment, they really emphasized on customer care. And I learned in that environment that it wasn't so much that we were in the car repair business, we were in the people business. Because when somebody comes in and they have a broken vehicle, it's time, it's money. Even if it's under warranty, it's an inconvenience.
Right. It's affecting their whole life.
It's a life interrupter.
Yeah.
You're going to work late that morning, or you're hitching a ride, renting a car, you're missing soccer practice, whatever it is. So I learned early on to kind of take the repair out of the process so much and really focus on the person and how I could make that easier for them. And 16 years in that industry, that's one thing that I took into my business when I started this. So it is a different industry, right? But if we think about when we're solving people problems, it's really the same business.
I love that.
Right,
I love that. So what was kind of your motivation to jump into the handyman biz?
So the automotive world offered me a really great lifestyle. It paid well. It was consistent. And there were times when I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with people. There were some stressors, just like any business has its inner workings, but the negative about it for me, and this is why I went out on my own and I wanted to become a business owner and start my own thing. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit anyways, and I was missing out on a lot of family time. We were there 7 to 7, 7 to 6, but you always stayed late, and then it became commonplace that dealerships started opening on Saturdays. So now we're looking at an alternating 6th day. And at the time I had 2 boys, and, I was missing out on it. I got remarried. My wife now, Brittany, she's fantastic. She supported me through every step of this. And I found out she was pregnant, and that was the push. That was the nudge. And I was working out of town at the time, and I was gone 12 hours a day plus commute. And I said, enough's enough. So I gave notice. And I went home, and she said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not sure. I'm going to figure something out. And then it kind of went from there. But
sure.
Yeah, that was the motivator. I really wanted to have some control over my time and my schedule so I could spend more with family.
Oh, that's great. No, that's awesome. So tell me more about your business. Obviously, people hear the word handyman, they think you're going to fix stuff, hang a ceiling fan, but Kind of give me the full spectrum of what you do.
So we're a full-time professional service, right? We do commercial and residential. We do multifamily stuff for a lot of property management companies in town,
Okay.
and we do some commercial buildings, as well. We're heading off into the retail space now. So some of our clients are, for example, like the Tejon Ranch outlets down there. Many of those stores are our clients. La Crusette, the Ariat store, Old Navy, Banana Republic. Here in Bakersfield, we even service Home Depot. Not to be mistaken with Home Depot hires us to go service their customers, but we actually go and fix the stuff in the Home Depot.
At Home Depot. The people there can't do it, so they hire you.
Right. So
can you tell me what you're doing at Home Depot? Like, I mean, are you changing an outlet? Like, what is going on there that...
Well, they employ a lot of young people there, and they
Yeah.
let them drive forklifts. And so,
I see. Yeah, so you're in there quite frequently, I would imagine. Yeah.
So they like to run the forklifts into things.
Yeah.
The biggest project we had there was they drove a forklift through a block wall once.
That's impressive.
Yes, and you could see it into the parking lot.
Yeah, give that guy a promotion.
Yeah, and then and a bill for the repairs, and they ran
Yeah,
into
exactly.
to the vertical saw stand once, so we had to rebuild that. So that was fun.
Well, that's something to be excited about, this new generation coming into the workforce, See, that's not all...
Yeah, it's going to keep us busy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's very cool. So, okay, if I'm a property owner, I've got a couple rentals, I could work with you and just say, hey, here's my 3 properties, and just kind of let you know the things that come up, and you handle that.
Exactly. We love working with that. Some property owners are out of Bakersfield. We give a lot of I have a lot of retired folks that lived here, raised their families here, and when they came time to retire, they kept their home, turned into a rental, moved to the coast.
Okay.
So I have a lot of that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then there's some out-of-towners that decided this was a hot place to buy and it
Sure.
made sense as income. I like the local feel, but those people still need service and help too. And what really makes us a great asset for people like that, or anybody really, is we focus on maintenance and repair, right? So if you have a garbage disposal that goes out, or ceiling fan that fails, things like that, or plumbing stop, we can take care of those things. We don't get into like kitchen and bath remodels. We don't do room additions or things like that. There's a lot of great contractors in Bakersfield that'll take care of that stuff. So we focus on repair, maintenance. I can have one guy run 3 or 4 appointments a day. That's a lot of people we can help, and we're not tied down to one job site for 3 weeks,
Yeah. That's great. Is it just you? You obviously have some people on the team. Can you tell us?
So primarily I am, I guess what I would call a project manager. I'm in the office. I talk to the clients. I organize the work for the week. I schedule everything.
You're in the people business still.
I'm still on the people side.
Yeah.
It's very similar. I have a lot of we have a lot of repeat business. And so a lot of the people know me and I know their story. And so sometimes the phone call gets a little social when we go to schedule an appointment. And then I've got a full-time guy that I send out.
Okay.
And he's my bread and butter. And we got a couple part-time guys too.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. So kind of going back to the work you do, could you pick out like what an ideal customer would be for you?
A great customer for me, ideal customer, I really love in property management companies right now.
Okay.
They have in-house maintenance guys that do the little grungy, dirty, easy stuff, right? And then anything that they is over their level of expertise, we come in and take care of it. A lot of these guys don't want to touch electrical. They're not qualified to do it. They're not comfortable with it. Kind of like a lot of homeowners we deal with. We get a lot of DIYers that they can do some stuff, but a lot of them know their limits.
Sure.
About what they're willing to get into.
Right.
So, and we bring that skill and expertise and the equipment and the experience and the right tools and the right education. We bring all that to the table so that they don't have to worry about it and they're comfortable with it.
And I would imagine that, if the property company is big enough, those guys are busy enough already. They couldn't take 3 or 5 days just to sit on one project. It makes more sense for them to be kind of calling the shots and, okay, Will, you're going to help us on this project and I'm going to get this guy to do that project over here.
Well, it's a great resource for them too, because they have clients, or tenants. And, when something's wrong at a tenant's place, they want to pick up the phone and just know it's going to be handled. They don't want to wait. They don't want to have to call around and get quotes. They don't want to have to deal with that stuff. So we come in and we're able to kind of get there. And because we don't take on big jobs, kitchen and bath remodels and additions, we're available to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what's kind of like an average response time for you guys, if you could say?
It's usually a couple days. If you contact a handyman service and they tell you they're 2 or 3 weeks out, it's because they're doing big jobs like building decks and adding on rooms to homes and things like this, which they really shouldn't be doing anyways.
Right.
Because you really should be a general contractor to take care of those kind of things. Right. So, but we do carry all of the necessary insurance and things like that. So we have all the coverages, but we just choose not to get into those jobs for a number of different reasons.
Do you think
compliance being one of them?
Yeah. Do you think that's something that sets you apart from your competition maybe? Is it you kind of stay more available by focusing on those smaller jobs?
It makes us available. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know my competition pretty well. Some of these guys worked for me and thought it was such a great idea that they'd mirror the concept.
Come on.
Yes. And not with any, I don't have any malice in my heart for them or anything like that. I'm an entrepreneur. I wanted to break out on my own. And I hired a guy once and he told me straight out to go. He's like, this is something I would like to do for myself someday. And he came in and he did a great job for me and my clients. And he was transparent right from go. So,
good.
Bless his heart. Wish him the best. I was on something before that, man.
Just kind of what sets you apart from your competition.
So you're talking about availability.
Sure.
Yeah. So, a lot of these guys will take on these bigger contracts and they'll do big flooring jobs and things like this. We don't really get into that. So I'm not ever really tied up on one project for a week or two or longer. Right. We try to keep everything local. Most of our work is in Bakersfield, if not within Kern County, because we'll hit like Delano or, Tahoe or Fraser every once in a while for people. But yeah, it does keep our calendar a little more flexible, a little easier. There's usually a little wiggle room almost in any day for an emergency response, like a broken window board up or, a leak or something like that.
Okay.
And we talked about my ideal client. I mentioned property management companies. I'm just thinking because that can bring me the most activity.
Okay.
But really, what really makes me feel good about what we've been doing lately is I mentioned earlier about being in the people business and the problem solving business, right? Not really the mechanical repair business,
Right.
Some of my favorite clients are the older folks. I have a big influence in the aging, adult community here. And, some of these people, they don't have anybody else to call. The son-in-law helps me sometimes, but he's got 2 kids and his own business and he just can never get over here.
Are you describing me or? I felt like you were pointing at me. Oh my gosh.
You're working professional and if you do have the aptitude to fix your own stuff at home, you probably don't have the time.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Right?
I don't have the aptitude or the time.
So we love the older folks because they're so grateful after we come out, and they thank us up and down. And, it's really nice to be able to solve a major headache for them. And then they don't know who else to call. And then once you've shown them that, and then you loved on it a little bit, or they tell you, I say, hey, where can I email your invoice? And they say, what's email?
Right. You're not going to drop it off handwritten. Yeah.
So, I'll mail the check, or there's even been times I've delivered the invoice to somebody and picked up a check from them after. And they're so sweet. And I love them because they give cookies and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Grandmotherly type.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really what warms my heart is that. And it's not just the elderly folks that are thankful for us like that. Like you mentioned, you're not fixing stuff around your house, and one of the things I've learned, even in the automotive world, is there's this kind of stigma where people think because you're born a male, you are automatically endowed with the aptitude to fix everything.
It's like this prejudice. It's this prejudice that we face as men. It's so unfair.
Yeah.
You're right.
So the wife is like, can you take care of this? And some guys are prideful and they're like, oh, I'll take care of it. And the other guys are like, hey, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what I'm doing. I know a guy,
Right.
So, but we get a lot of that. And, some guys, they do have that aptitude. But the last thing you want to do is be at work all day and then come home and do more work. All right. And I know a lot of fathers, and a lot of the grievances is the same reason I started my own business, because I wanted to be able to be home and have a family life in addition to my, work and professional career.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to be doing is doing that. So, I know how to work on my own vehicle to a certain level, obviously, but I don't do it. I hire it out. I know how to cut grass. I don't do it. I hire it out, because we have to put in perspective what's important to us.
Sure.
Is saving $100 doing something yourself at home worth missing your daughter's soccer game or missing church on Wednesday night, or, whatever it is that's important to you?
No, you hit the nail on the head. That's great. I love hearing that. And you're right. It's like, we are so busy and we only have so much time. Like, what are we really going to focus our time and energy on? Everything's a trade-off, we're going to come home and fix something broken. And then, we miss out. So no, I love hearing that. Okay. So, let's kind of shift gears a little bit here. Something I always ask is like tips and pointers, or maybe even like common pitfalls that you see. So if you could maybe give some advice to the homeowner or the property manager, what are some simple tips, and what are some common pitfalls maybe you see people walking into?
So the best tips I could give anybody that owned any kind of a property is just maintenance and care. Richard was talking about it the other day. If you don't service it when it's small, it's going to turn into a big headache. Your home or your property is the same way. You don't clean the gutters, they're going to back up. That's an annual maintenance thing. That should be done every year.
Right.
The fall comes, fills with leaves and pine needles and etc. Right, dirt and dust, even because we get windy here and not a lot of moisture, so we get mud in the gutters here. It's crazy, right? You don't do that, next thing you got water pooling around the house. It's beating up on the trim. It's a problem. Painting the fascia boards on your house. You don't do it, you're gonna have rot issues, right? But if you stay on top of it and catch it when it's small, you can prevent costly repairs in the future. It's no different if your brakes were squeaking and you ignored them, and next thing you know, they're grinding, and now you need rotors instead of just pads. So
I've got this problem at my house, and what's the process? I just give you guys a call, you come out. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so we do most of our scheduling online, just because there's only one guy answering the phones.
Got it.
And it helps weed through spam or things that we don't do. So most of our traffic goes to the website. I'm not opposed to taking phone calls. And then folks will fill out a little online contact form, put the name, the contact information, a brief description of what the concern is, and then you can attach and upload a couple of photos. I adopt it, and then it comes to me, I review it, and I contact you back.
That's good. Is that like a software you use? I mean, that sounds
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
a website
Okay.
that I use. My wife put it together. It looks great. I don't understand how it happened. I just know that it did happen. So that's great. We actually, I bought into some new software. It's called a House Call Pro, and it's for people in the trades and things like this. So
Okay.
everybody from plumbers to electricians to, whatever. And we do a little bit of all of that stuff, right? So it's going to have an online scheduling tool.
Okay, very cool.
So I'm really excited about that, because it's going to allow people just to basically go to our website. If they see an opening, they can book it. So that'll make things a little bit easier and kind of help us to grow and expand. But yeah, I mean, that's really what it looks like. And if it's something that's out of our expertise or out of our wheelhouse, I usually have a great referral for folks. And, I've learned to be good in the referral business.
Yeah, no, that's great.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really that simple. Yeah.
Good. Is there anything new and exciting in the neighborhood repairman business, like new technology or new laws, or is anything changing that people need to know about?
Efficiency is changing in homes. Things are becoming more efficient. The homes are starting to get outfitted with smart switches and different technologies like that.
Okay.
Things are getting smaller and more compact. Garbage disposals are getting smaller and quieter.
Are you trying to say that they're getting harder and harder and more sophisticated to work on? Is that kind of what you're saying? Or
I think there's a growth element there. It's not anything that's going to take us out of relevancy or understanding of what we're doing. But it is getting a little more complicated.
Yeah.
But with efficiency and conserving energy and things like that, there's got to be a trade-off. Tankless water heaters came into the picture, a few years back. We get a lot of problem with those on account of circling back to the maintenance thing. Best tip is maintenance. Most people don't know this. You got to flush that thing once a year.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there with a descaler and a pump, and there's a process, and we do it. It's supposed to be done annually. Most people, they don't do it. And next thing you know, they're 3 years into a 10-year warranty on it, and they call and they're like, okay, where are your maintenance records? And you're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So we try to educate people like that. I have a maintenance program that I'm starting to put together for quarterly maintenance. I've talked to some of my clients, especially the property owners, like the landlords and stuff. They're really interested in that. Scraping the gutters, descaling the tankless water heater, things like that. These are things that need to be done on a regular basis. Most people don't. Cleaning out the vent behind the dryer. Most people don't do that stuff, and then they wonder why there's problems later.
Yeah.
So if you don't brush your teeth, you're going to get a cavity, so you got, you got to think of it like that. It's just like that. But so we try to come in and we offer solutions for these things that people just may not know about. Most people don't know their water heater needs service. So that's something that we're really trying to create like an awareness about.
We need to have you back on, and you could just go down all the systems in the home and, all the different maintenance schedules and things people don't know and most common problems. That would probably be a really interesting podcast to do. I'm sure you could tell us some interesting stories of things that come up.
Yeah, there's actually a home repair specialist that does a radio show on Sundays. And,
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
And he fields questions and things like this. And, from a lot of DIY homeowners that want to know what they can do to remedy problems around the house. And, because we're a handyman service and we're not a specialized trade, we get a lot of obscure projects. We see a lot of strange things.
Got it.
Especially when we're looking into open walls that haven't been opened before, and things like this, it can get pretty weird.
See some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So let's kind of shift gears here. We've talked about your business, and now I want to relate it to our chapter, our Bakersfield Business Partners networking group. So first question I always ask, and most people don't know the answer, is how long have you been in the group?
Oh, wow.
I know.
Feel like an overachiever
This
now.
one stumps everybody. Do you know?
I actually, I was introduced to the group about 2 years ago.
Okay.
I came as a guest to one of the meetings. I came twice, and I made a couple of connections, and it wasn't quite right time for me, really. Not because the group wasn't a good fit, but just I wouldn't have been able to give
We get it. Yeah.
my expectations. I wouldn't have been able to contribute the way I probably could have, because I was in the field back then, so instead of riding the desk, I was riding the truck, and I was at all the jobs.
Yeah.
But I was invited back again by one of our members, and I came in, and I knew right away it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do it 2 years ago, but I didn't. So anyways, the short answer.
I was gonna rein you back in here. I was wondering where this was going.
We might have to edit like that 5
No,
minute
that
answer.
was perfect.
So I actually officially joined our chapter in August of 2022.
But it's a gray line, because in your heart, you had actually joined 2 years ago, huh? Deep down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Deep
Emotionally.
down in the pit of my soul.
Yeah,
yes.
emotionally, you had committed to the group.
Well, it was great because I was already doing business with some of the people in the group anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, coming in there, I was very comfortable. And even if I hadn't known anybody in there, it's just a great bunch in our chapter, and just real easy going.
Especially that past president. Man, he was sharp.
He was the best.
Yeah.
I heard.
That's right. Tell us how it's affected your business. Has it helped your business grow?
It's been great, and it's really more than just a place to come and just glean referrals. I was talking to Marvin, and was the one that kind of more recently invited me, and I was talking to Marvin about the pros and cons of joining and everything else, and And I said, man, I got a lot of business coming in right now. I don't really need more referrals. And he goes, it's not really about just that. He goes, that is a benefit of obviously, but he goes, you build relationships in there, and you make connections and build bridges with guys in other industries, and you can, and becoming a little more rooted in our community was important to me. So I really joined really for that purpose. Since I've gotten in there, I've learned a lot about different industries and things that are happening through the education we get from the group.
Good.
I've made some nice friendships. I've had a great one-to-ones with many of the members, and I've gotten a lot of referral work out of there. I've done work for not only the members themselves at their homes and offices, but also the people that they're connecting with and have an influence with, that they're sharing those referrals with me. So yeah, it's a great referral source, but I mean, it's really just about the relationships and connecting for me.
One thing I love about you is I asked a very like pointed, direct question, but you are always able to kind of like give me the whole context, wrap it all together. And no, that's fantastic. I mean, that's what I like, actually. If you would have said, yeah, it's good, I get referrals, it's boring, but and honestly, that's kind of why we're doing the podcast is our group. I mean, if you go to BNI's website, they say, hey, we're going to help increase your sales and you're going to get referrals. But the members, new members, old members, we know by being in the group that it's so much more. It's about education. It's about relationship, connection. And so your business will grow, but then you're going to grow personally also. So you kind of had the perfect answer.
Oh, great.
So yeah, A+, you nailed it.
You can pin my gold star right there.
Yeah, you get your badge today. Good job. So anything else before we kind of close it out that you want to say? I mean, just thanks for coming on, by the way.
Yeah,
it's always fun talking to you.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. No, I think we kind of covered a lot of kind of just the basics of what I do, and
Good.
and I really love being part of this part of our great community here in Bakersfield, and with our BNI chapter. I just love being a part of that community, and it's just great. It's just been a great experience. So
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on today.
Awesome. Will, thanks for being here, and we appreciate it. And if you'd like to visit our group, we meet every Tuesday morning at 7:30 in the morning. We network. There's breakfast included. It's a light breakfast. And then we go around the group. Everyone gives a 60-second commercial in each meeting, and we just educate every other member on basically what we talked about here, what makes our business different, what's going on in our industry, what's a good referral for us. And over time, you get educated, you grow, and then every other member in the group kind of starts to learn, hey, what's a good client for Will? Oh, he's looking for property managers. Well, my cousin owns 10 rentals, right? And so then that's how the referrals get generated. So if you'd like to visit our group, look us up online. I actually don't know the contact information, but come join us. And until then, we'll do another podcast next week, but make it a good week, Will. We appreciate it.
Sounds good. You do the same.
All right. Take care.